Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk CNAs, a show for CNAs by CNAs. I'm your host, Wendell, and this is my lovely co-host, Angel.
And we're live here at the Arizona Healthcare Association NAHCA conference in Phoenix, Arizona. And today's show is called Why Nursing Homes? So many times we hear some negative things about nursing homes, but today we'll be talking about all the positive things that our CNAs and nursing professionals do on a daily basis.
That's right, Angel. We have some awesome guests on the show today that will give us some positive things that CNA does in the healthcare profession. With that said, are you ready to start the show?
Let's do it.
Let's start the show. Let's get Hello and welcome to Let's Talk CNAs. It's a pleasure to have you guys and ladies on the show today. If you would, could you introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been a CNA?
My name's Norma Dela Cruz. I've been a CNA for 13 years.
13 years.
Now,
I'm Lori Porter, and I was a CNA for 7 years, but for a total of 35 years I've been in long-term care, and the last 20 has been at the helm of the National Association of Healthcare Assistants. It's the first and ever National Association for CNAs.
All right.
Thanks for the invite.
Good.
Thank you.
I'm Tony from Copper Village. I've been caregiver for the last 20 years.
Whoa.
he's our first caregiver on the show.
Yes, he is. Welcome to the show, everybody. I would be remiss not to mention this, but NAHCA has celebrated their 25th anniversary.
That's
Am I
correct. We do it for you, so
Thank you.
So that's
Appreciate
why I make
that
fuss
a lot.
for you. Yeah.
Appreciate that a lot.
All right, now.
Well, if it's okay, I'd just like to also
We
say
expect
that, plan for that. No, seriously, to all of our viewers at this particular show and for all of your Let's Talk CNAs, I just want to take a minute to say how proud I am of what you're doing here in Arizona, because across this nation, we have some really awesome members, there's no doubt about it. But what you guys have done with this opportunity of having this show and getting as many viewers as you've been having, and I know this is your first anniversary, right?
Oh, it's celebration.
So congratulations and thank you for having this show and moving the profession forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Laura, you really have inspired all of us, and being in the nursing field and the long-term care field, a lot of times the nursing assistants that we don't have and caregivers don't have a voice, but with NAHCA it helps us to be inspired to do the show so CNAs can have a voice. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yes,
My pleasure.
yes.
Yes.
But so Lori, let everybody know what NAHCA is and what it's all about.
Okay, I absolutely will. NAHCA is a funny word, but it stands for the National Association of Healthcare Assistants, so you can see why we say NAHCA. It's a little bit easier. And NAHCA was founded by myself and Lisa Cantrell, who's an RN, and we were working together in a facility. I was an administrator and she was the director of nurses, and I shared this little dream I had with her one night, and really NAHCA was a dream. I had been administrator about a year, and that wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. And came with all kinds of headaches, and so I'm thinking, I thought when I became an administrator I could solve all the problems for CNAs. And what I did was I got my hands tied behind my back, as all administrators do, by things called budget and corporate and compliance and regulations. And it just wasn't a whole lot of fun for me. And I couldn't solve the problem. So one night I just dreamt it, I guess, as odd as it is, and mentioned it to Lisa, and together we had pulled $2,000 together in 1995 and hung a shingle as a professional association for CNAs. My feeling is it's the largest turnover group, it's the largest employee group touching our residents, the closest, whether we're assisted living caregivers or CNAs. Over 90% of the direct care is provided by you, and everyone else in this profession has a consultant or an association. And so now, NAHCA was formed to be both. To be your association of and for CNAs, but also to help you grow in education. And, you know, motivation is a big part of it, but I hope we explore some more about the voice, CNA voice, because I'd like to touch on that at some point in time through the show this evening, because I think I might have a new way of looking at that.
Okay. Sounds great. I know when I first heard about NAHCA, I mean, I really didn't know what it was. And I remember you came to the building, you know, and you asked me if I wanted to be part of the steering commission. I mean, not knowing what that really was, I just jumped right in it. But immediately I saw what it represented, and it had a lot of great CNAs involved in it, and the steering commission that I met at that time, as Lori would say, some old biddies.
The old bidding committee
Old
is
bidding
what
committee.
Yeah.
I mean, but they were sweet. They taught me a lot. They showed me a lot, and so I really appreciate that. And I just felt in love with NAHCA and what NAHCA represents. So
Well,
I
we've
thank
got
you
a
for
lot of
that.
work ahead of us, Wendell, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is certainly a great, great start in the state of Arizona for what you're doing here, and NAHCA nationally. But there's nothing easy about having a CNA association, and I'm sure each one of you, I know Norma, you and I talked for a moment, and you know, we all go back to our facilities after we've been to a meeting or a conference or something, and we're so full of energy, but yet we're met at the door almost with boom, negativity.
Oh, yeah.
And so that can let the air out of our sails pretty quickly, which makes it challenging to keep people motivated and on fire. So anyway,
Sure.
but
Thank
yes,
you.
the steering commission, we've valued having Wendell on it, and he's been on it quite a while, and we enjoy that. The steering commission, just quickly, is our national board, so to speak, of NAHCA. It's the CNAs that guide and direct where we need to go as an association, because my team and I, we're not working in the facilities taking care of residents anymore, and we don't always know what's important to you, so I get a lot of that from Let's Talk CNAs.
It's all right. Okay, so I know that you, Tony, that you have, that you're a caregiver,
Right.
and it's, you know, it's a little bit different than the being in the nursing facilities and the care homes.
Right.
But I want to say this: what has been your experience as a member of NAHCA?
My experience has been wonderful. Just because I get to learn from other CNAs. I mean, we're all pretty much all in the same boat, but there's other things that they can teach me that I can teach them. So it's like passing down a relay, passing down the metal trunk in our hand, saying, I can learn from you, she can learn from him. So we're all in there as one piece, in one team, and saying we're here for each other.
And that's good. That's good. It's very important to have teamwork. It's very important. And I'm glad being a member of NAHCA helped you to bring your team together even more. Because I'm sure that, you know, you guys already had your team together, but NAHCA bringing NAHCA into your the caregiving aspect, it, you know, it helps.
It does, it very much does.
That's good.
So Tony, are you the facilitator? Is your facilitator?
No, I'm the second shift supervisor.
Okay.
So I take care of maybe 15 caregivers on second shift, plus with 90 residents.
Okay.
So whenever there's a need for an emergency situation or crisis going on, they call me.
Mhm.
And I'm within 1 minute to 30 seconds, because I feel like if you waste too much time, that's jeopardizing someone's life. So I tell my staff, no matter who you are, if I get called, I'm there. If you're in a cottage and if I'm not there, my other supervisor will be there, but I can guarantee you I'll be there within 30 seconds. I get that call.
Confident, very confident.
That's right.
Very confident.
So, Norma, after 13 years as a professional CNA, if you would change one thing, what would it be and why?
One thing I think I would change is actually having CNAs look at being a CNA as a different way. What we see is, you know, we're not just what they call butt wiping person. You know, And I'd like to actually educate our CNAs more as, you know, we're more than that. We are important. We're the main focus on the floor.
Thank
We
you.
are
I agree.
the people that can actually be there for our residents and actually know what's going on at the moment that's going on. So basically just educating them more and letting them know that we're more than what they think we are.
I don't want to take over the show by any means, but one thing that I think would be something for a future, maybe Let's Talk CNA would be that very subject matter. How to motivate your coworkers, how to motivate
That's awesome.
CNAs, because you have to motivate people to take education.
Exactly.
That's true.
If your
That's true.
DON got up to educate, you know it wouldn't go over well.
Right.
You have to motivate people to want to learn these things, and so I think that would be an interesting topic.
It's true.
Well, I know from my experience with motivating people is, you know, I have little gatherings at my house. And we just talk about work and that are anger or frustration or vent, because we all have issues.
Right.
And I feel like we just, instead of creating gossip, we should talk among ourselves and being there and being supportive.
Well, and a great deal of it is about, for example, facilities have just as much administrator and DON turnover anymore as they
Oh,
do, do
yes.
CNAs. So what NAHCA stands for is helping CNAs become strong enough and empowered enough that the whole world doesn't have to fall apart if you get a new DON. You know, everyone would agree in our profession that it sets a facility back about 6 months.
Oh,
If you
yes.
get a new administrator or new DON, the residents can't afford to be set back 6 months.
Correct.
So we should be able to move forward, no matter who the leadership, the management is.
I agree.
Correct. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And with that said, Lori, you know, I know you've been advocating for the CNAs and the elderly for a while now. What are some of the difficulties that you see, and what could we do as CNAs or members of NAHCA?
Well, that's a big question there, Wendell. We could stay all day to tackle that, but I think first and foremost, what's hot on my plate, what's really got me jazzed up right now is that there's 15,000 skilled nursing homes in the United States. Some of you heard me say this at conference, 35,000 assisted living. We feel we don't have a voice. We have to get a voice.
That's right.
You don't need an administrator to give you a voice. You need to get on your smartphone and Google long-term care and learn about the profession we're in.
That's right.
And to understand why things are the way they are, because when we do that, we can embrace it. But first and foremost, nursing homes are hated.
Exactly.
Let's just call it like it is. They're absolutely hated by everyone. There's no champion. There's not a single champion for nursing homes. And that's what I want NAHCA to be. I want 1.4 million nursing assistants to drink the Kool-Aid, to walk the walk, talk the talk, move this profession forward, because every time someone puts down a nursing home, and I said this morning in one of the sessions, it's the only healthcare entity that can get a fine from the state and the feds.
Exactly.
They come after us. Do you have a loved one in a nursing home being abused or neglected? The trial attorneys. And so I'm not suggesting we take on trial attorneys, but what I am suggesting is that what would be a perfect campaign for us or mission for us is to change the way this country feels about nursing homes. We're not a place to be afraid of, but we have to teach and train and stop always trying to change to please the outside. Let's educate the outside of what the old or the behavioral resident or patient needs. And so I think CNAs were the largest group and we're well equipped to take that on. But we certainly need Norma's co-workers and everyone's co-workers to understand that they're powerful enough to hone their voice, educate themselves, and it's really up to us as leaders, and I put you all among that, to motivate. We have to motivate folks, our co-workers, in order to really but there are so many things that are hurting nursing homes right now. There's going to be a whole lot of new regulations coming down the pike. They've released 400 pages of new regulations, the biggest regulatory change since OBRA of 1990. And so we're going to have some dogs in that hunt too when it's all said and done. But anyway, some of the things I haven't seen change, Wendell, are teamwork, attitudes, We're still allowing, I said this morning, I believe in we've all heard of the 80-20 rule. Well, I think it's a 90-10 rule in long-term care. 90% of us are amazing, 10% probably ought to move on down the road. But we keep giving that 10% all the power. We give the negativity all the power. It's draining our DONs and administrators of their energy because they're having to deal with that 10% all the time. And so I believe when we are motivated and educated, that 10% won't be able to stand us because we'll just be too on fire. There'll be nobody to complain to, nobody to complain to, and then they'll go away and we can add 10 more % to our winning team.
Right.
Because I always say like you say one negative thing, you know, it spreads
It's a
like
ripple.
wildfire. But it takes about 10 positive things to smother it. So it takes, if that one negative person saying something negative, then we need like 10 people to shut it down.
And that applies to an individual. If I get up in tomorrow morning and say, oh man, I'm so fat, or it's gonna take 10 positives to build me up enough to go out and face the negative, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because it takes 10 affirmations to kill a single negative.
Because you can go online and look up nursing home, and the first thing you say, you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
I was like, are they serious?
Yeah,
But
they
they are, you know, and a lot of the caregivers and the nursing assistants and the nurses and everybody, they don't even back it up, like, okay, well, maybe it is like that. But this is where you work, and this is what you do.
Well, you know, too many of our fellow long-term care colleagues have accepted that.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's kind of like, we're overpowered, everybody hates us, what else are we gonna do? We love it, but, you know, but we can't accept it.
No, we can't, not at all.
I would think that, you know, with all the turnovers, that helps with the, some of the negativity that you have in your facilities. You know, statistically, there's still a big turnover, Lori, among CNAs in long-term care. I mean, how do we solve that problem? I mean, you guys can feel free to answer this question.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you solve that?
Just,
Go ahead.
I think how you resolve conflict like that is just listening to each other's needs. You know, I mean, instead of bickering about it, just listening to each other, like I said before, and being supportive. Because I worked in other places where people were just literally turning me down. And it's like, what did I do? But you want to be there to support each other. You're doing the same thing I'm doing, you know, she is, you know, and well, we got to be on the right same balance. And say I'm no better than she is, so let's work together, learn from each other, and work as a team.
I would say just as a group, just like he says, just be positive, acknowledge, be there for one another, and just.
What do you, I'm curious. I'm curious for Norma because today was the second time she and I had met. It's been a few years, but I think, Wendell, wasn't your question, what are we doing about turnover, or what can be done?
Yeah,
about
actually my
turnover?
question was, you know, with the high turnover rate, what can we do to?
What do you think, Norma? Do you have any ideas?
Just acknowledge more of what we do out on the floor. More teamwork. Like he said, you know, don't let one negative person just ruin the way you want to help others. You know, whether, you know, like he says, you come at me a certain way, I'm not going to put you down and say, well, you do it yourself. You know, teamwork is a big role in the whole facility industry, and basically what we do. Like I said before, we are the main sources on the floor, so we have to be there for one another.
So what kind of projects are you and your team doing?
Well, we're actually getting together to actually, again, acknowledge what we do on the floor. So appreciating, what we're doing is actually making like maybe a breakfast or a luncheon to appreciate what we do, and maybe, you know, that would boost up the way they see things and actually get together as a team.
Okay. So like when you get your new CNAs in the building, you know, you have to really foster a great work environment. So what kind of projects do you guys do to promote that?
Well, I try to incorporate a lot of activities where I work, you know, and I have people shadow me first
Mm-hmm.
and see the way I work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because everybody works differently. You know, and I say, shadow me, watch the way I do things, and then if you have any questions, ask me. I always feel like no question or an answer is a wrong answer as long as you ask.
Okay.
Because you always want to learn.
I really think we don't have a recruitment problem, we have a retention problem. I mean, we're just hiring, you know, it's a revolving. I mean, they just released the national statistics a couple of weeks ago that CNA turnover rate in nursing homes is 92%. So that means we're turning over about 100%. That doesn't mean everybody leaves. Norma can be there 13 years and they still have
Right.
92%. Doesn't mean she left too.
Right, right.
It just means there were enough open positions that we ran through all these
Yeah.
applicants. So from a NAHCA perspective and what facilities can do from my perspective out there and the experiences is, number one, we don't treat new people very well.
Right, exactly.
We just don't. I met with a group of charge nurses recently at a retreat, about 60 nurses, and I asked them how many of them buy their new CNA soda pop or a cup of coffee the first night. You know, maybe we can't do this at 3 o'clock at shift change, but Norma, I'm always swamped, but if you'll come back up here at 7, I want to buy us a Coke, get us a cup of coffee or something. I want to hear your expectations, and I can't wait to go over my expectations with you. You see, then we just don't foster these new relationships to help people understand that what they're doing is an important role. When you're hired very quickly, you put in an app, and we need people because turnover is so bad. We give almost everyone a chance without ever knowing if they're the right stuff.
Correct.
But it is up to us to mentor, teach, and train new people.
Mhm.
And if we truly love the residents like we say we do, then that should be our biggest legacy. How many people did we touch and teach and train and mentor to become just like this group sitting here at this
Exactly.
table?
I agree.
And I definitely agree, if you are promoting a great work environment, you're definitely gonna have your staff performing at a higher rate. And that's what you want, a family environment to you know, everybody has to be family, basically. You have to be family for it.
One other thing I might add to that is everybody wants to be influential. I don't care what your level is in this, I don't care what your income is. People want to be influential, and they'll use their influence any way they know how. And if they only know how to be a bad influence, they're going to continue to be a bad influence. And so, you know, everyone can be responsible for their own attitude and their own, but we come from a victim mentality many times out of poverty. CNAs fight for everything they get, and caregivers fight for everything they get, even just housing, enough money to get gasoline. You know, all these things are a fight, so we're so used to fighting and being, for lack of a better word, put down, so to speak, or felt like we're kept down. We can play that role and allow people to continue for us to feel that they're going to put us down.
Mhm.
But self-esteem is a big part of it. Each and every person has to work on their own. That 8 hours can be our best 8 hours of our day. We don't have to fight for it.
That's true, that's true.
We don't have to fight there. Nobody's out to get us.
That's true.
And then we got.
Put your neighbors first.
That's right, that's right.
Your residents.
I like neighbors, but unfortunately, people think, what in the world are they doing over there in Arabella?
With their neighbors.
Neighbors, what they do, just corner off a neighborhood? It's a subdivision down there in South
But yeah, I believe that, you know, you need to build a relationship because you're gonna be there with these people where you work at for 8 hours, 40 hours a week. You're there like most of the time, you're probably there more than you are at
Oh,
home.
absolutely.
You know, so I always say, this is my second home, like, you know, like I always tell people, I know where you live, you know.
And that's why I look at it as family, you know, that's why I
Exactly.
stated it as family, because you're family.
You are family.
know, you start to
And if
spend
that's
more
the
time there.
dominant, like I said before, that 10% will go away or they'll get on board, one or the other.
Correct.
But I think sometimes it's easier as an assisted living caregiver than as a CNA, because I've been a CNA myself many years ago. When you're a CNA, you have sometimes 20, 30 residents. You really don't have that bond like me. I take care of overall 10 residents in just my own cottage. So I have a lot more
Bragger.
easier. But it's a lot more easier to get closer to my residents and my residents' family. You know, even when I was a CNA, I still had the love and compassion for every resident, every family member. But now that I'm a caregiver, it's easier for me to say, hey, John Doe, how are you doing today? To the family members. Whereas as a CNA, I could only be as intimate as I wanted to be. You know, but now as I'm a caregiver, I can go to them and say, hey, I want this. I can say things that they may need. You know, as a CNA, you can go to your LP and say, hey, she needs this, this, and this. Because most of your LPNs or RNs are going to go, that's not my job.
Some of them, I won't say all of them, some of them may
But
act
you know
that
what?
way
You
sometimes.
can do that in a long-term facility.
You can,
You can.
if you have the right
When
team.
Yeah, you know, you get together with your team and just make sure that you keep it, you know, personal.
Right.
When you talk to them, you know, when you see a family member, oh, how you doing, this and that, you know, are you know, is this your brother? Oh, yeah, how long you guys, you
Go on,
know, just get acquainted with them.
Exactly.
Get acquainted with your residents.
They
and
care to
your-
know you more than anybody else in the
Exactly.
facility,
Exactly.
trust me,
So,
they
yeah.
wanna know you more
Yeah.
than anyone.
Exactly, but get acquainted with them, they like to, they
They
like
do.
that.
Give them a handshake
You know.
and say hi.
And everybody does. If you meet somebody and they say, oh, how you doing? Oh, this and that, you know, how long you been in Arizona? You'll feel a little comfortable, you know.
Go ahead, Lori. We expected this. We expected this, Lori.
Well, I'm gonna give a little example. Let's say that through Let's Talk CNAs and through NAHCA and all of our work together, that Norma decided tonight, she got so inspired that tomorrow before she gets to the facility, she's gonna go to Quick Print and have her some business cards made.
Mhm.
She's gonna stop, get it at Office Depot and get a little briefcase to carry them in. She's gonna have a notebook of all the things she can do at her facility to make a change, to show a better attitude, blah, 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 blah. And she goes in tomorrow carrying her briefcase and handing out her business cards. What's everyone at the facility gonna do to
She
Norma?
thinks she's a doctor.
Like, what she thinks she is. That's what they gonna say.
And anybody in their right mind would think, I wanna be like Norma, if they really love the residents. We've got to stop putting the Normas, or that scenario down and embrace it, because don't our residents deserve Norma to be as proud and as loud? And if she's at Walmart and somebody asks about a job, she can whip out her business card. She can talk to her friends at church. She can spread the word and give them someone to call. And I promise you, Norma, the next new admit you have, if you hand your business card over to the family member, they're gonna be so blown away. They're not gonna expect a CNA to have that much desire in their own performance, I should say. That comfortable that you got my name, so to speak.
I've done that.
But we get put down if we try to step outside and be better. And so collectively, as we grow in a facility from the power of 1 to the power of 2 Normas to 5 Normas to 10 Normas, we should be looking at how can we set the stage to be the best we can be.
Exactly.
That's
I
right.
agree.
Yeah.
So, Tony,
Yes, ma'am?
since you are in the caregiver aspect, what are you guys doing to reduce the turnovers in your facility, if you have any? Because I heard you say you didn't really have too much.
We really don't have a lot of turnover. I mean, it's there, of course, like every place is, but we're just there supporting each other. You know, I mean, I look like we were talking today, I look at my boss, Larry, she's our chief, or our head coach, our MO, or our LPN nurse, she's our assistant coach. People like me who's are the supervisors, I'm the lowest range of coaches, but I'm handing out the flyers and the team memos and saying, let's work like this, let's go like this approach, and at least try it. Because you can always try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least we can see we tried it. But when you have a turnover rate, it can be tiring. You know, we've had some in the past. You know, no one likes sometimes seeing our friends leave, but we all have to move on sometimes. So I think,
What's the secret to your low turnover?
Definitely,
oh, our low turnover, I think just listening to each other's needs.
So the team, the members of the team feel that they can come and talk to.
They come to me and they talk to me, and I got sometimes professional part of me on, not get so absorbed with it, because yeah, I can go home at the end of the night and say, oh, heck, what are they doing, you know? But I want to listen to my caregiver needs. If I can bring it to my bosses and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm hearing, to talk about, because when I was first brought where I'm at work at now, 5 years ago, I told them, I know, one of my main goals was to start a support group. Because I feel like we all have a story, we have a complaint. Instead of talking about her or you, let's bring together and learn from each other. Because that's what it's all about, educating each other about our needs.
Part of the process, being engaged.
And I don't know if you guys know, but Tony was also a recipient of 2004 Caregivers Award from NAHCA.
14.
So it would explain your thought that you just gave us here, you know, and that's true. That's a great thing to have a support team. So I can appreciate that, Tony.
I was quite shocked when I won it, because I never done it. I mean, when I heard my name, I was kind of like, oh, no way, me? I mean, my boss came to me 2 months before that. Questions, what makes a good caregiver?
Yeah.
You know, what do you have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was honest.
Yeah.
I just told her, you know, you gotta clean out the old house and bring in the new, but also to learn from the old and bring in the, you know, because like I told her one day, you know, where I work now, I was there 15 years ago, and it was one of the best places I ever thought in my life, because it was the first Alzheimer's places in the East Valley that held 90 residents. You know, we had great teachers. And when I met my new administrator in this last couple of years, I go, you can't really bring back the past, but you can learn from the past and bring on to the new ones.
That's true.
And that's why I tell my new caregivers that I train now, because I go, I'm no better than her, you, or me. We're all in this together, and let's serving the residents to the best of our ability.
Is that the advice that you would give all your
I give all my caregivers that. Because I believe in teamwork. I thrive on teamwork.
Okay, all right.
I
Sounds
tell
good.
people that I work with, and I am a more, I don't know, board members, and this when I win my award. I believe in that teamwork comes from someone with experience and knowledge. And that's kind of like where I am, because I'm 50 years old, I never went to college. But I have the experience, I can hand down the baton to the next person.
Yeah,
And say, hey, in 10 years, if I'm retired, I hope I have someone like you taking care of me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Seasonal caregiver.
Well, the reach is unlimited, because in your retirement, you'll be able to look back and say, I trained 300, 200, 17, however many it's been, to care for, to keep on the legacy of caring.
Definitely. Well, you guys, we really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Actually been a great show.
We're
Lori, I
out of
believe
time.
we're gonna come back to that.
Part
Lori.
two.
But I believe we have some people out in the audience that want to ask you a couple of questions.
Oh, sweet.
I do. Laura, this is directed to you. Me being a CNA for 43 years, NA, been CNA for 43 years now. What can we as CNAs say when you hear many negative things about nursing home and caregiver facility due to a couple of wrong people doing wrong? You know, I know what I do. I know what I have done, but how can I do it professionally?
Yeah, well, you might be asking the wrong gal. There's a little secret called rolling up your, no.
And I get offensive, you know.
Right, no,
Don't do it.
professionally, you know, this is one of the things I believe all CNAs and caregivers can do, and that is practice scenarios that happen every day in our world in our care centers. For example, you gotta prepare for that question, and that's a great question, Sandra, because we hear it all the time, whether it's inside our profession and mostly outside. Oh, you work in a nursing home?
Yeah, I get that.
Ooh, God, that takes somebody really
Special.
You're not feeling very special by the time they're done with you. And so, you know, the only thing I do know is how to celebrate what we know. And too many nursing assistants don't know this. We work in the most regulated business in the world.
Yes.
Unless other people you know are doing what you do and are in long-term care, they can't possibly be as good as you. I'm sorry. You're giving people their life back. There's not many folks that can do that. And we're regulated. I mean, truly. There is no other entity in healthcare that has the regulations we do. It's not healthcare, it's skilled nursing and assisted living. It's not hospitals. And so, you know, to me, number one, you gotta be very, very proud. You've got to have in your arsenal 2 or 3 stories, quick examples you can fire back at somebody. Well, you know what? It does take a special person, because last year we admitted 27 residents who couldn't walk when they got there, and they can today.
Oh, I love
You
that.
come back with a positive, but you can't do that if you're not keeping score. If you're not keeping score of how many people, don't say, well, the facility doesn't keep score. I'm sick of that. You keep score of the own lives you touch.
Right.
And then you tell your own story, not someone else's.
Thank you, Lori.
And then Cedra, it was this one CNA I met, she was in the hospital, but she was CNA, and the nurse was like, why don't you go to school like everybody else, get your RN and this and that. And she said this, she said, yeah, that sounds good. She said, but I love what I do. And she said, and if I do that, then who's gonna do what I do?
Okay.
'Cause what I do is good, so she said it just like that. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
that have always been my saying. I love what I do and I do what I love. And
But at the
this is
same
it.
time, I would challenge everyone that's listening out there and here today to go beyond, I do what I love. Because in that moment, you have an opportunity to educate. Every time someone says that to you, you have an opportunity to educate. Remember I said earlier, we want to change the hearts and minds of people who don't like nursing homes?
Right.
And that's really all they're saying to you. It's not you being a CNA, they just don't like nursing homes, right? Because when I was an administrator, same thing happened, didn't matter. CNA, got it, administrator, you just got another business crowd going, hey, God, how can you do that for a living? And so it is about a nursing home, and what I would challenge all of us to do is know as much as we can about the profession we're in so that we can talk beyond I love it. Because that, as much as we love it, that's still not an educational moment.
Right, correct.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have any more questions in the audience? Anyone? All right. Well, Tony, Norma, Lori, do you guys have any last words you would like to share? We'll start with you, Tony.
Yeah, God leave me for last.
I'm just thankful I'm here, representing Phoenix, Arizona, be the caregiver I am. And that my fellow caregivers know that, hey, that I'm there for them. And that I'm there to teach them, support them, and most of all, respect who they are. Because, like what I said before, we're all in this together. We're not just one person, we're a family.
Right.
Awesome.
I just want to thank you guys for inviting me. I am very motivated and am very excited to actually go back to my community, my building, and actually, start something new. Maybe with NAHCA, get our team together and motivate everybody.
Awesome. That's the whole idea.
That's good.
That's what it's about, isn't
That's
it?
right.
Well, I just want to again say that it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so glad that you guys made the adjustments that you needed to accommodate me being in the state and having this opportunity. It's so much more fun to be a part of the action than just seeing what you all are doing and you getting to have all the fun. And Let's Talk CNAs filmed from our conference in Des Moines in June of just a couple of months ago. And it was a major, major hit. I do believe everybody just enjoyed it so much. And laughter, as Tony and I were listening in the general session earlier, laughter is the best medicine.
Yes.
And, we just have so much to celebrate and laugh about, but we also have some really serious issues that we need to buckle down. And CNAs have this. The whole reason, a big reason NAHCA was founded is because I do believe the solutions to the challenge that face us lie in the hands of CNAs. We have the opportunity to make better what's plaguing long-term care today.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Lori for joining us on the show. I know it was on Facebook. Like she said, what about me being on the show? Yeah, we were so excited. But I am so happy that that you're here. And a lot of people they're getting to know about NAHCA, because I didn't know about it for a long time until like 2011 when it came into Coronado. But
I have to tell you, I was a little bit bummed out when you changed the name from NAHCA Talks to Let's Talk CNAs, if I just have to be honest. But the reason that we should celebrate that is because not a lot of people knew who NAHCA was, and still don't. And so CNA is synonymous with caregivers, with TNAs, RCAs, whatever we're being called these days across the nation. So that's the term that draws us all together, and hopefully NAHCA will be a beneficiary of all your good work as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to thank you guys again for
Super,
being
thank
on the
you.
show. It's been a pleasure. So you ask yourself, why nursing home? This is why nursing home. We love what we do, and we do what we love. You guys do the same. We'll see you next time on Let's Talk CNAs, where knowledge is empowerment. All right.
Let's check out some LOLs.
This is my LOL. My name is Crystal from Winslow Campus Care in Winslow, Arizona. I was going to go get a massage from a resident who was blind, and he gives the employees massages. Had a hard day at work, so I went in there, wanted a massage, got on the table, he started coming up, and he grabbed my butt and started massaging it. And I was like, wait, whoa, whoa. It's my butt. It's not my back. And he said, I'm sorry. It got red. It's my LOL.
Hi, I'm Julie Kennedy. I'm a CNA at Heritage Manor and the chair of the National Steering Commission. And the girls wanted me to share a little bit of a funny story. It was quite a few years ago in the beginning of my career. I worked second shift, and we were getting residents ready for supper. And I went up to this lady and I says, "It's time for supper, honey. Can you put your feet up?" And she was kind of hard of hearing, and she looked at me and she says, What'd you say? And I says, "Can you put your feet up?" And she says, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" And I said, "Can you put your feet up?" And she looked right at me and she says, "What about my fetus?" Needless to say, I ended up helping her get to lunch. But that's my LOL.
Hey, here's an LOL for you. I love CNA so much that one time I flew to Arizona. I peed my pants on the plane, and I still made it through 3 hours of travel and peed on pants or peed in pants to get to the CNAs I love. Now, if that's not hilarious, I don't know what is. And if I don't leave right now, we're going to have another LOL.
We had an amazing time on the show today. I hope you guys got a better understanding of the CNA professional side, what they have to do and what they go through the nursing home. And I hope this will help you to understand why nursing home.
I'm glad that we can share this wonderful show with you today. And I would also like to thank our awesome guests for sharing all of the things that they do for quality care with their residents.
Well, that concludes our show for today, Angel. But please join us next time on Let's Talk CNA, where knowledge is empowerment.